You might be wondering, why Nottingham? To that I reply, why Nottingham? So here are the stadiums and arenas of Nottingham, England. Marina Point Arena, Nottingham is part of the National Ice Centre, which includes a rink for the public and a rink for the professionals to be watched on by the public. It was the first facility in the UK to have 2 Olympic-sized ice rinks within it. In fact, when you enter Nottingham, the big sign says, "Welcome to Nottingham, home of Robin Hood," and 2 Olympic rinks, same building, first in UK. There wasn't much room on the sign. Ice skating is a fun way for the general public to get a bit of exercise in and live a healthy lifestyle. That's why Cadbury and Coca-Cola have purchased some advertising space to try and counteract that. This arena was built on the site of Nottingham Ice Stadium, which opened way back in 1939. It was also built on top of an old cemetery. There are no signs of the past inside. It's a rather clean, simple, modern interior, with one big symmetrical tier of steep seating, which should make for a loud and intimidating atmosphere. Trent Bridge. With a name like that, you might assume it was named after a nearby bridge that crossed the River Trent. But no, not even close. What do you think, they name a cricket ground after a bridge? Of course not. It was named after a pub, which in turn was named after a bridge that crossed the River Trent. This ground is simultaneously unique and just like any other cricket ground in England. What I mean by that is that it shares a lot of the same traits, such as the asymmetrical dimensions of the ground, and the fact that it is comprised of about half a dozen different stands, none of which look the same. There are pavilions that look as old as the Trent Bridge Inn, and then there's one particularly sleek looking modern stand, and everything in between. It all comes together to form a lovely cricket ground. The upper tier of the Radcliffe Road stand seems like the place to be. Nearby is City Ground, which is a name that is more accurate in its description. Because it's ground in the city, as opposed to in the forest. Although it is home to Nottingham Forest, who actually take their name from the first ground they played at way back in the 1860s and 70s, the Forest Recreation Ground, which sort of has its own little forest. It was probably a bigger forest back in the day. For a brief period, Nottingham Forest called Trent Bridge home, but they've been here since it opened in 1898. It's their new stadium, you could say. Anyway, this ground is situated just a few meters from the aforementioned River Trent. It's so close that somebody out there could probably cast a line from the ground to the river. Maybe a professional discus thrower could manage that. Anyway, it is a beautiful ground. Not only do I like that specific shade of red that's used extensively throughout, but the funky roofs are pretty cool as well. Also nearby is Meadow Lane, a ground that was known for being one of the biggest and best non-league grounds. However, Notts County have since been promoted to League 2. They too played at Trent Bridge before moving here. As you might suspect, they are a club who were once a lot more successful than they are today. The record attendance at this ground was when 47,000 people watched Notts County play York City in the FA Cup. I think they'd be happy if they got a fifth of that for the same fixture nowadays. Meadow Lane and City Ground are actually the 2 closest professional football grounds in the UK.
What you talking about?
England, sorry. This stadium has less design quirks than its neighbour. The stands are off-the-shelf designs, and all the corners have been left empty. The magpies depicted on the seating is a nice touch. Do British magpies sound like R2-D2, or is that just an Australian magpie thing? Nottingham Tennis Centre hosts the annual Nottingham Open, which is one of the tournaments that is held in the lead up to Wimbledon. There are 40 courts in total, 13 of which are grass courts. This is the show court, yet it is still rather small. I don't actually know the exact capacity, probably like 2,587. Either way, it does look like a nice place to watch baseball. Tennis. RM Stadium. Hucknall is a small town within Greater Nottingham. The biggest football club in the town of Hucknall is Hucknall Town. This newly built stadium is fairly plain and simple. There's a mix of terracing, seating, and just regular old standing room. Hucknall Town is like a 9th tier club, so considering that, it is a rather nice ground, I suppose. By the way, RM, the educational supplies company, has a huge store or warehouse just a couple hundred meters away. They bought the naming rights to this stadium so other educational supplies companies would not encroach upon their territory. The educational supplies industry is very fierce. This is a textbook example. The club's old ground, Watnell Road, is said to be demolished and turned into housing, which is a good thing really. And those were the stadiums of Nottingham, Nottinghamshire, England, Great Britain, United Kingdom. Thanks for watching, have a good one.